What's up, everyone? It's that two-wheel loving boy, Shockmoto here. Hey, do you notice anything different about me? No, my voice didn't finally drop. Well, yeah, I did gain a little bit of weight, but that's not what we're here to talk about. No, it's this beautiful 2018 Aprilia Shiver 900 that I happen to be riding right now. That's right. Your boy is on an exotic Italian bike. How did that happen? I don't know. I don't know, really. It just turns out that there was a bike. There was a bike that a guy was selling. He thought he could only get $5 grand for it. This is a $10,000 bike, new. It's only a year old. Had about 1,200 miles. Yeah, about 1,200 miles on it. And your boy paid about $5. Now that's with the trade-in. So I went and traded my other bike in, which means I paid almost pennies for this bike. I won't tell you exactly how much because I don't want to get y'all jealous out there, but I paid very little for this bike. And I couldn't be happier about it. This is, for those of you who've been following me and kind of understand my motorcycle journey so far, I've gone through a lot of bikes in a couple of months here. About 4 months I've bought 4 bikes. Why, you ask? Well, because I didn't really know what I wanted. And, you know, there's a possibility that I still don't know what I want. But the amount of smiles that I get when I ride this bike, it certainly makes me feel like this is the one here. Now, this is a 900cc motorcycle, so I'm not playing around when I'm upgrading these bikes right now. I'm going straight in. I'm going all in. Now, this is kind of the hyper naked style, so more torquey, more mid-range power. It's not going to have, you know, the top end of the gear kind of like the Ninja or the FC6R did. It's not going to rev up to 14 grand on the tachometer there. But what it is going to do is pretty much wheelie in first gear, second gear, third gear. It's got so much torque that I am not wanting for power when I ride this thing around. It feels great. By the way, you should have a listen. Have a listen to this. Ooh, that must be why they call it the Shiver. I couldn't help myself. This bike controls so well. It's so nimble. But I gotta tell you, man, this is super fun. Just extremely nimble. Does exactly what I tell it to do. I'm gonna pop off of here and let you guys kind of see the whole bike here. I think you'll be impressed with the way that this thing looks. If I do say so myself, I think this thing is a stunner. Another thing I really like here, gear indicator. Oh man, so good to have a gear indicator. Especially for newer riders. The kickstand, that's one thing that's a little weird. Takes me a minute to get used to. It doesn't hit the ground until, well, quite a bit later than the other bikes did. So I oftentimes kind of feel like I'm dropping the damn thing when I put it down on the kickstand. I love these red accents. I had those on my FC6R, loved them. One of my favorite things about that bike, so I'm really glad I didn't sacrifice the red tube framing to upgrade the bike. Love these Jetsons. They look like something straight out of the Jetsons to me, these exhausts. Now what they're designed to do is this little plate on the outside kind of looks like a saucer. It's designed to jet the exhaust out to the sides. It's apparently solving for a problem that, in my opinion, didn't really exist in the first place, and that's to mitigate blast from the back end for people that are standing behind the bike. Let's get another couple listens to that. Whew, there's that Shiver, baby. Yeah, this thing is a stunner. I never really thought to myself that I'd put myself on an Italian bike. I always thought I'd buy JDM. But I just fell in love with this thing. One look and I was like, oh my god, what is that? I have to be on it. I have to test ride it. I have to see what it can do. And lo and behold, I left with it. I couldn't help myself. I just couldn't help myself. I just gotta get another sound of that. Whew. Now that's a V-twin. That's another thing that I'm loving about this bike, is it is a V-twin. For those of you who are uninitiated, that is the same engine that they put into Harley-Davidson motorcycles. That's what's giving it this nice, deep, gurgly sound. really missed that when I traded in my CB500. I didn't think I would miss anything about that bike, really, but the sound of that parallel twin, I actually did miss that. And that was amplified with a 90-degree angle V-twin. You can see the heads up here for one cylinder, and then here's the head for the other. So it's at a 90-degree V-twin. Gorgeous bike. Hey, friend. There's another Italian bike right there, Ducati 1299 Panigale. Beautiful bike. Oh, we got friends here. Ooh, that Evolution, that's actually an electronic bike. What's the word for that? An e-bike? Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, it doesn't run off gas. It's just like a Tesla. What are those called? Electric cars. Thank you. Oh my god, that took me way too long to figure that out. But yeah, he's on an Evo. Those are both expensive ass bikes, what we just saw right there. This bike MSRP is new at about 10 grand. Those are a little bit more than 20. To put it into perspective for you. But those are top of the line bikes. I wonder if they're getting some pictures down there. It'd be rude of me to just assume that my bike's pretty enough, but I'm certainly of the opinion that it is. Another cool thing about this bike, do you see this TFT display here? It's hidden behind my phone, but it is extremely clean. It's got shift lights. It's got 3 modes. I can put it into sport, which gives me the full 900cc, 90 horsepower engine unleashed. I have touring mode, which dials that back a bit. And then I have rain mode, which dials it back significantly so that the throttle is not so twitchy when I'm riding in tricky conditions. I've been fiddling around with this bike, trying to get it back into kind of different settings. It's really not as visually obvious as it should be. For example, to change the modes, you'd think it's just this little mode toggle switch here. It is not, surprisingly enough. You hit the starter button. Watch this. So it's in sport, rain, tour, sport. So yeah, you hit the starter button, or it would be in the ignition on a car, which I do find pretty weird. Hoo-wee. Hoo-wee, though. This bike just produces. It makes it happen. Now, I have heard that the Kawasaki Z900, there's in the MT10, obviously, that's a 1000cc motorcycle. You know, they're all kind of in a similar class. Those bikes produce more power, so this bike is going to be a little underpowered in comparison to them. But the style and just the sensory that I get when I turn this bike on and I listen to these exhausts. Whew. Just the angles of the bike, the color scheme, everything about it. I love everything about it. This is the first bike that I've sat on that I've been able to get for myself that I've loved everything about. I've typically sacrificed something for myself. For example, on the FC6R, you know, I really wanted an R6. I wanted something that was kind of ready for the track. And I had to understand later on down the road that a sport tourer is really, you know, it's not the same thing. It may have a 2006 R6 engine detuned for street, but that doesn't make it anything like an R6. You know, it's got a completely different package. So I had to kind of learn a little bit how to actually look around for what truly appeals to me as a motorcycle rider. My concerns currently about this bike and whether or not I made the right choice, I'm pretty confident that I did. I'd say that the only thing that I really might reconsider later on down the road is just, I do like fairings. I don't like getting buffeted by the wind on the freeway, and that is going to happen on this bike. So that is a little bit of a sacrifice that I'm making to ride on this Aprilia Shiver 900. Gotta be honest with you guys, I'm not super fond of the name of it either, a Shiver. The Shiver 900. Why? Why is it called that? I don't understand. Again, maybe it's that sweet, sweet sound. Ooh. I don't know. It's a beautiful Seattle day out here. Thank you for coming out, checking this bike and riding around with me. I am extremely excited about it. Extremely excited about it. I put up a noise ordinance recently, so hopefully my bike doesn't piss off anybody enough to call the police. I gotta admit it is a little bit loud, but it has been capped. It's got a Euro exhaust on it, which has been capped so that it doesn't produce as much noise as it normally would. Europe has specific standards on the amount of noise and emissions that motorcycle exhausts can create, and this is created to meet those needs. This is an Italian bike, so it makes sense that they would try to mold to the Italian standard. So I actually kind of appreciate that about this bike. I didn't want an extremely loud bike. I just wanted a bike that sounded fucking badass when you rev the thing. And I found that in this bike. Holy crap. No question at all. Handles like a dream. In fact, I've heard some people say that it's overly responsive. I can kind of see that, honestly. This thing flicks on a dime, and if I'm too aggressive in a counter steer, I can see myself putting this bike down. So I do have to be pretty careful. It's precise is what it is. So I can't just be jerky trying to get into something that I don't belong in, you know, like a corner at too high of a speed. So I got to be careful with that. Otherwise, yeah, I can see myself low siding on this. Now this bike is far too pretty to start trying to learn how to wheelie on it now. But you know, as I get more comfortable with it, I may try to do a wheelie here and there in the future. And this bike basically begs you to do it. It wants to be on one wheel. It wants to jump up like Black Beauty and just say, "I will bring all the boys to the yard with my milkshake." But I don't think I should be trying to do that just yet. Especially because this is 900. Ooh, see, that's another reason I'm glad I have that gear indicator. Chugging along in third gear from a stop is not smart. And if I didn't have that there, I probably wouldn't have known what the issue was immediately. The downshifts sound so good. Oh, those downshifts. It pops on deceleration. You see those shift lights going to work there? Man, this bike is really going to help me. Do you see that downshift? How smooth that was? Oh boy, I am loving everything about this bike. It is extremely smooth. Loving it. Now, if you're out there clicking on this video because you're not sure if you want to buy a 2018 Aprilia Shiver 900, I'd say it's honestly all about the power. Like, what are you trying to get out of the bike? I think that there are stronger bikes that are cheaper. Again, I'll reference the Kawasaki Z900. I think that for the price point is going to give you just more power, more performance. But it's not going to look like this. It's not going to sound like this. It's not going to be an Aprilia. While they've got this little stretch open in front of me, I'm going to try to take advantage of this shifter and learn how to use it. Interesting. I don't know what the colors mean yet. I feel like I'm going to have to go back and, you know, spend some time with the user guide tonight, especially because the controls are not as, like I said, visually obvious as they should be. Okay, well, I'm imagining blinking red means, hey, stop doing that. I guess that means shift. I mean, that felt like a smooth shift. It was right in the RPM zone that it should have been in, and it felt great. So yeah, I think that this bike's going to really help me understand the timing when I'm shifting, at what RPM should I be shifting at. And the other thing is, you know, every bike's a little bit different in now. I talked about that a little bit during my introduction and shifting practice video, that honestly most of the time you're just getting used to your bike and what it's going to do. But the ultimate technique is still the same. Again, I'm also just now learning how to drive a 900cc motorcycle. This is not a beginner's bike. This is a powerful motorcycle. This is close to 100 horsepower, you know, in a bicycle. So you do the math. Ooh, love the way that sounds. And honestly, there are times today when I'm riding it where I'm like, am I ready to be on a 900cc motorcycle? But I mean, honestly, it's all throttle control. So just working on your throttle control, just being more consistent, being more gentle than you would normally be on, you know, a 500. And that's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. It's not like you're going to swing your leg over a 1000cc motorcycle and just fucking explode. You know, if you whisk the throttle straight into a brick wall, yeah, you're not going to have a good day. But that just comes with ignorance, you know, that comes with not respecting a machine, it comes with being reckless, and as long as you are none of those things, I think that you can swing your leg, as long as, and you know, I'm also talking to a specific demographic here. I think if you're 19 or 20 years old, you want to get a motorcycle, you should probably start off on a 300. I would never trust 20-year-old Brad to go and get on a 900cc motorcycle and not just fling himself into, you know, outer space. Another flaw about this bike, maybe it's not a flaw, but one thing that I think is pretty silly that it doesn't have, it's totally possible that it's hidden somewhere and I just need to surface it through fiddling with the interface here, but it doesn't seem to have a fuel gauge. It has a dummy light. It lets me know when I'm almost out of fuel, but it doesn't tell me how much fuel I actually have. I've never seen a bike, you know, come out in the last 10 years that doesn't have a fuel gauge on it that's not a Harley Davidson. So, yeah, that's interesting to me. I mean, it's got a gear indicator, it's got TFT electronic display. It shows me lap times. It allows me to connect it Bluetooth to my phone. I can pair with other riders. But I guess I don't know how much gas I have? Okay. Okay. Kind of weird, but okay. Okay. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah, that goes. Ooh. And I'm so sorry to be making all these, like, sounds at you, but you're not sitting in my shoes. You're not feeling what I'm feeling. You're not letting this bad boy ride, man. Oh, God, that's a good time. My grin is ear to ear right now. I can't even help myself. Oh, man. You know, you want to know what makes riding a motorcycle fun for me that I think I've learned? It's torque. It's torque. It definitely is. It's that just shred the rubber against the freaking asphalt feeling that you get when you twist that throttle and it's nothing but pounds of torque meeting the surface of the road. Ooh, that sounds good. Sounds good. The downshifts are smooth. I feel like I'm the king of them on this bike. And that just goes to show how different each bike is. You know, on the FC6R, you went with me as I was trying to practice my downshifting. They were fairly, I mean, I got pretty consistent with it, but there were certainly still situations where I was like, ooh, that wasn't a very good downshift. I've been almost perfect on this bike. The downshifts have been almost perfect. Now, I don't think this bike is as fast as the FC6R in terms of top end speed, but it's got a lot of acceleration and a lot of torque, and it'll get to its top end extremely quickly. The FC6R topped out at about 150 miles an hour. I don't know what the top end of this is. I've seen around like 200 some kilometers, 210 kilometers. I don't know exactly how fast that is in miles per hour. But I'm imagining it's somewhere right around 100, 120, between there. But, you know, I've been finding as I've been riding that it's not all about just gunning it. I don't get a whole lot of situations to just open it up and go 130 miles an hour. And if I'm doing that all the time, let's face it, man, I need to rethink about why and how often I'm doing that. So this is kind of a compromise in the sense that I get a lot of acceleration, a lot of power, really quickly, but I don't have to go 115 miles an hour to feel like I'm going 115 miles an hour, if that makes sense. God, the shifting is so smooth. Oh, there's so much power in this bike. I have lots of room to grow into this. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to share this with you, show you this exciting milestone in my riding. I think that this is the bike. I'm 98% certain that this is the bike moving forward. I haven't with full confidence been able to say that so far. The FC6R, you may recall me talking in my introductory video about how it's a styling and speed package, and that it really fit what I was trying to do, which was ride my motorcycle for long periods of time, be comfortable and go fast. But as I rode it more and more, I found that I was missing the torque of like a 500 cylinder motorcycle. Why would I be missing something when I'm on a bike that has 100 more cc's of power? Well, the answer is because that torque comes with fun. That's where the fun is for me. So if I can get a bike that doesn't compromise too much on the comfort, the style, but also allows me to get pounds of torque into my ride every single time I swing a leg over, then I think that that's where I'm winning. And honestly, I encourage you guys to think about your riding in the same way. When you're smiling and you're riding a bike, think about why. And then amplify that. Make that your prime directive when you're looking at different bikes that you want to get. Whew, so responsive. So great. Anyway, guys, I could talk your ear off all day about this bike, and you know, you keep watching my videos, you'll keep finding me getting used to this thing, figuring out what I like about it and what I don't. I got a lot of room to grow into this bike, so it's going to be a learning experience the whole way through. So yeah, thanks for coming through, checking out my video. I hope you liked it. Hope it was entertaining for you. Subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next one.